notes and a pencil out.
Hello, sir.
Good, how are you?
Good.
What's your name?
My name is Jamar.
Jamar. What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
Breon.
Brian. Nice to meet you. I'm Mr. Grab.
Alright, I need your attention in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's try that one more time. We're in class right now. I said I need your attention. I said I needed it like 5 seconds ago. We ready? Alright, so these posters, I spent way too much money getting them printed. Alright? We all need reminders of what's going on here in class. We just entered class and we did it wrong. Alright, this is our reminder right here. This is our last time we're reminding each other how to walk into class. We walk into class, conversation is level 0. That means we're not talking. Alright, if you need help entering class, you'll raise your hand and ask for help. The activity that you're doing when you come into class, you'll take out a pencil and you'll take out your notes. Alright, that's all you'll do. The movement, you'll walk from that door to your seat and have a seat at your desk. Alright, and everybody's going to do it. Alright, these procedures are up here so that if you fail to understand what you're supposed to be doing, because I'll point to them and I'll go through them every time before we start something. If you don't understand because you weren't listening, or because you're going to be disrespectful and choose not to do it, alright, you'll write it 20 times. The whole champs poster that you missed. Alright? So, entering class every time. That's how it's going to happen. Any questions?
No, sir.
Alright. Now, we have a quiz that we're about to take. I'm going to review it on the board. Alright? So, you need to have your notes out and a pencil and be following along the review I'm doing on the board. Yep, the 7 notes. The top of 7 notes. I need to stop hearing y'all say shut up to each other.
Man, they need to stay out of our business. Shut.
Excuse me?
Shut down.
You didn't realize you were talking to a teacher when you said that, did you?
No, I wasn't talking to her. She keeps commenting me when I'm not talking to her.
Okay. Just pay attention. I'll teach you. Just use your notes right now. When you take the quiz, I'll pass out papers. Alright, here's our review right here. Alright, we talked about expansion, factoring, adding, and subtracting. I need somebody to raise their hand and volunteer to read this question right here.
Wait, you say read it?
Yep.
Phone time.
What does it tell us to do? Expand. Alright. What are we expanding?
parentheses 5 plus y.
Alright, so 4 times y plus 5. Alright? Now, if I said it's y, or 4 times y plus 5, our answer for a multiplication problem is called a what? A product. So we're starting with a product, and when we expand something, what do we result in? What do we result in? Can somebody raise their hand? What?
Say that again?
What does it result in? After we expand this out, what does it result in? If we start with a product, what do we end up with when we expand? A sum or a what? What's the opposite of a sum?
Different.
A difference. Alright, so we started with a product, and we're going to end up with a sum or a difference. Alright? Now, what property do we use to accomplish this? Alright? What property? That's operation, property. Distributive property. Now, what operation do we do when we do the distributive property? Multiplication. Alright? So, we're expanding. Every time that we see expand, we're going to do the distributive property, and we're going to multiply which term? Which one of these terms are we multiplying times the other two terms?
4.
The 4. The term outside the parentheses times both terms on the inside. So 4 times y is 4y. Alright? And then 4 times 5 is 20. Alright, so that's exactly what you're going to put in this box here. Alright, make sure you're very careful about what you enter into the box. Alright, 4y plus 20. Alright, that's it. That's the expansion process. Let's go on to the next question. Let me have a brave volunteer to read really loud. What is this question asking us to do? Alright, so it's asking us to factor the algebraic expression. Alright, so we already talked about expanding, and this is telling us to factor. When we're factoring, what is the first thing we have to locate? The greatest common factor. Alright, we have to locate the greatest common factor. Alright, and if I wanted to find the greatest common factor, what is a helpful hint that I need to think about whenever I'm trying to determine what my greatest common factor is? Can anybody remember? What is a helpful hint when you're trying to determine what your greatest common factor is? Can anybody remember? I might not have said it to your class. All right, the greatest common factor will never be greater than the lowest term. All right, so if you're thinking greatest common factor of these two is 23, all right, that's going to pop into your head, and you're going to be like, the greatest common factor cannot be greater than the lowest term. That makes no sense. I got to try again. All right, but since y'all are all really good at finding the greatest common factor, what is the greatest common factor between 24 and 21?
3.
It's 3, okay? And I'll place that 3 where? Where do I place that 3?
24.
No, where do I place the 3? The greatest common factor goes where? In the parentheses by itself. Alright, so 3 is in parentheses by itself. Alright, and then after I have this greatest common factor, alright, what operation do I use with this greatest common factor in those other two terms? I divide. Alright, I divide. So, I have 24a divided by 3. I have 24a divided by 3. So 24a divided by 3 is what? Somebody raise their hand. 8 what? 8a. Don't forget about the variable. It's part of it. Alright? 8a. Alright, and then 21. 21 divided by 3. Somebody raise their hand. 21 divided by 3. Yeah, that's 7 plus 7. So, let me have somebody recap all the steps we just did here. Alright, we read the question. Alright, and then what did we do right after that? What did we do right after that? We found the greatest common factor because the question told me to factor the algebraic expression. Alright? Right after that, we found the greatest common factor and we picked what operation we were doing. And somebody remind me again one last time. What operation are we doing with the greatest common factor? Raise our hands. Yep. We're dividing. We're dividing. Alright? So, when we factor, what do we start off with? What is this called here? With a plus sign. How did I get 7? I did 21, this term, divided by my greatest common factor of 3. I got 7. Alright? So, if I start off with an addition problem here, all right, what do we call that? An addition problem. Y'all said it earlier.
Sum.
A sum. We started off with a sum, and what was our end result after we got done with factoring? What was our end result? What is this called here? I'm thinking of, so we're multiplying here, right? This is multiplication. The answer of a multiplication problem is called a what?
A product.
A product. All right, so this is the exact opposite of expanding. Expanding and factoring, you can use them interchangeably in order to check your work. So that's a hint that I'm going to want you to use when you take the test. All right, in your head, think, if I expanded this correctly, then I can factor it back and I'll get the same thing. If you can't do that, then somewhere along the way you made a mistake. All right, somewhere along the way you made a mistake. All right, and we'll enter this into the box exactly like it's written on the board. All right, this computer program is pretty helpful. When I open a parentheses, it turns red. If I don't close that parentheses, it will stay red. All right, so it's open, open, and then close it. All right, so make sure you have all your parentheses closed because the computer is really picky about how it takes your answer. So we have 3 by itself in parentheses, and then we have what we factored out. All right, so we have 8a plus 7. All right, 8a plus 7. Go ahead and hit next. All right. Now have somebody go ahead and read off this question for me. Somebody raise their hand. Jabbar.
Which other expressions have like terms?
Okay. Which one of the expressions, or which of the expressions have like terms? When we see a question like that, all right, what symbolizes that they're like terms? What are we looking at? The letters. What are our letters called? What are our letters called? What do we call them in math terms?
Variables.
Variables. All right. So we're looking for identical matches of our variables. All right. Identical matches of our variables. So y and x, do they match?
No.
No. So don't pick it. But t and
Yes.
t, they match. T and t goes boom. All right. M and m.
Yep.
Yep, they match.
No.
All right. We have a no variable and a variable.
No.
No.
All right. And there's one more down there. I just have to scroll down. All right. Then we have
Yes, man.
then we have an x,
No.
an xy and an xy. Do those match?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
m
no.
and mn.
No.
So they have to match identically. We can't just have one. All right. That's key. So the answers, we're going to choose B,
B and
C, and E. All right. B, C, and E. All right, here's where we talked about our definitions. We talked about 3 different words. You already defined variables for me, and you told me that they were letters. All right, you told me that they were letters. Now, coefficients. Actually, I'll read this question to you. All right, it says identify all the coefficients and constants of the following expressions. All right, so this question is asking me to identify. It doesn't say add, subtract, multiply, or divide. It says identify. And that word means all you have to do is be able to match or pick out. All right, match or pick out. So, our coefficients of this expression. All right, somebody let me know, what is a coefficient? A coefficient. Somebody raise their hand. Coefficients. Think you know? You can try. It's safe. It's okay. Just try. What do you think? Coefficients. What? Number in front of the variable? Yeah. So coefficients are always linked with the variable. All right. So in this expression right here, 8 is our coefficient. Then we're left to figure out our constants. All right. Our constants. So if 8 is a coefficient, y is a variable, we're left with that 7. What do you notice about a constant? What do you notice about it? It's all alone. It's not associated with a variable. All right, it's all by itself. So 7 is our constant. Now, let me try and throw you a little curveball because the test might do it too. What if I put a plus y right here? What if I put a plus y? What do you think I have to do? What do you think I have to add to this? Yeah. A 1. All right. Every single variable